Okay, so synthesis of yoga, the perfection of the mental being, page 635. But man is characteristically a mental being. Moreover, mentality is his highest present state in which he is nearest to his real self, most easily and largely aware of spirit. His way to perfection is not to involve himself in the outward or superficial existence, nor is it to place himself in the soul of life or the soul of body, but to insist on the three mental intuitions by which he can lift himself eventually above the physical, vital, and mental levels. This insistence may take two quite different forms, each with its own object and way of proceeding. It is quite possible for him to accentuate it in a direction away from existence in nature, a, detach- a detachment, a withdrawal from mind, life, and body. He may try to live more and more as the witness Purusha regarding the action of nature without interest in it, without sanction to it, detached, rejecting the whole action, withdrawing into pure conscious existence. This is the Sankhya liberation. He may go inwards into that larger existence of which he has the intuition and away from the superficial mentality into a dream state or sleep state which admits him into wider or higher ranges of consciousness. By passing away into these ranges, he may put away from him the terrestrial being. There is even, it was supposed in ancient times, a transition to supramental worlds from which a return to earthly consciousness was either not possible or not obligatory, but the definite and sure finality of this kind of liberation depends on the elevation of the mental being into that spiritual self of which he becomes aware when he looks away and upwards from all mentality. That is given as the key to entire cessation from terrestrial existence, whether by emergence in pure being or a participation in supra cosmic being. I think we have done the whole thing, right? Yeah. So should I go ahead or little bit? But if our aim is to be not only free by self-detachment from nature, but perfected in mastery, this type of insistence can no longer suffice. We have to regard our mental, vital, and physical action of nature, find out the knots its bondage and the losing points of liberation. Discover the keys of its imperfection and lay our finger on the key of perfection. When the regarding soul, the witness Purusha, stands back from his action of nature and observes it, he sees that it proceeds of its own impulsion by the power of its mechanism, by force of continuity of movement, continuity of mentality, continuity of life impulse, continuity of an involuntary physical mechanism. Should we stop?
Yes, we can. Yeah. So this word, no, regarding soul. I think etymologically, regarde is to look. So witnessing Purusha, the one who is looking. How beautiful words, really. So in the earlier paragraph, he was talking about like there is a possibility that a realization that the terrestrial is left and one achieves further and further realizations. So now he is talking about integral yoga. But if our aim is to be not only free by self detachment from nature, but perfected in mastery, this type of insistence can no longer suffice, the earlier one. We have to regard our mental, vital, and physical action of nature, yes, looking at mental, vital, physical, find out. Again, this reminds me of when mother talks about it, become conscious, look at each movement of your being, find out the knots of its bondage. It's so beautiful. And losing points of liberation. And it's so practically doable. Like we get to know, where I'm getting entangled, where I feel liberated. Find out the knots of its bondage and losing points of liberation. Discover the keys of its imperfection and lay our finger on the key of perfection. So beautiful, really amazing. When the regarding soul, the witness Purusha, stands back from his action of nature and observes it, and this again is a practical experience, when we begin to look at it, that it's as if a chatter, like default going on, and just because of this mechanical movement which has been going on because of a momentum, क्योंकि इतने सदियों से चला आ रहा है इसलिए अभी भी चल ही जा रहा है, although now you're looking at it कि ये चल क्या रहा है, but चल रहा है, चल रहा है. So he sees that it proceeds of its own impulsion by the power of its mechanism. What we talk about, this mechanical nature of thoughts and patterns. By force of continuity of movement. In physics we call momentum. क्योंकि वो चल रहा है इसलिए वो चले जा रहा है. Continuity of mentality, continuity of life impulse, and continuity of an involuntary physical mechanism. So once it is set into motion, it is ta 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 ta, all going as if by itself. At first, the whole thing seems to be the recurrent action of an automatic machinery. That's how it looks like. That okay, now I'm looking at it, I'm not participating, but still it is going on. So automatic machinery. Although the sum of that action mounts constantly into a creation, development, evolution. इसके आगे हम देख सकते हैं. Yeah, anything here? काफी revelatory words हैं.
I think the first time I came in contact with Acharya Prashant, this was what was most revelatory, that don't talk big words, right? See what you're doing, see what you're doing, and that would lead you towards becoming simpler and lighter. I think the yoga Vashishta, right? The yoga, that is about your conduct, right? What are you doing? Where are you going? Kind of, and looking into it and learning. So it's the most interesting. Like I used to find it the most interesting. कि बातें मत करो, just show me what you're living, how you're living. So it really, I mean, it's strange that we don't know this, and somebody has to prompt you. अच्छा कर रहे हो but क्यों? कर रहे हो but कैसे? Right? Like those seems like absolute basic questions, and yet those escape us. And this mechanical nature is so apparent the moment you start looking, okay, right? Like as if things are set in motion, like you said, in momentum. It's pretty amazing to realize that so much was escaping me because I was not, I mean, technically I'm awake, right? Like, and yet so much escapes me. I find that very intriguing. What all escapes me till it doesn't, and then it stands like, such a big thing that, oh, it's so obvious.
I think कहीं ना कहीं वो भी है कि if anything becomes habitual, as if it is blinding in nature, that habit है ना. अब मान लो the example can be that if I'm used to live in a certain surroundings, है ना, adapted to it, it may be filthy, but I'm used to it, you know. So it actually becomes a part of my being and I stop to even question. But then when I explore world and I see, oh my god, you know, where am I living, or somebody tells me that where are you living, then maybe a question emerges and then you become aware of some other possibilities. Otherwise, so because of that habit, it's like a blinding curtain, you know, that ऐसा लगता है कि this is it, this is the world, or this is the life that can be lived unless something new is shown, you know. So even in our ignorance, all our experiences, explorations, they must have this, you know, one of the purpose seems like this, to show us that, oh, अच्छा ये भी पॉसिबल है, अच्छा ये भी पॉसिबल है, अच्छा मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था क्योंकि मैं तो यहाँ रहती, यू नो, और मेरे लिए तो वही संसार है. So like living with same relations all the time, same families, same culture, तो ऐसा लगता है कि no, this is what is life about, you know. And one doesn't even, if usually one doesn't even question it, that क्यों, unless कुछ preparation रही है अगर, है ना, previous questioning की. Like how we take these roles so tightly, okay, daughter-in-law, mother, wife, all these roles, everything, you know, daughter, parent, you know, and we get blinded by that role. और जब ऐसा लगता है कि नहीं, एज अ पेरेंट मैं कैसे कर सकता हूँ ना, तो अब पता लग रहा है कि कोई दूसरा पेरेंट कर रहा है तो पता लगता है कि नहीं, तुम भी कर सकते हो. जब वो कर सकता है तो तुम भी कर सकते हो. So we continue to as if become, I don't know, a creature of circumstances, one can say, है ना, creature of circumstances.
Circumstances, habits, cultures, conditioning.
And
So there
again,
is no
continue. Yeah.
like there's no individuality exposed to the
बिल्कुल.
exposed to mostly, and then
Yeah.
and just to extrapolate on this, you know, another thing which is interesting is that how even when I start seeing and acting, yet a lot of times I realized later on that I was just looking at it partly. I couldn't see the complete thing, right?
Yeah.
So what they talk about the supramental consciousness, that how,
Hmm.
right, it could be kind of a 360 thing, that even in, when they say that when you leave your body and there's the life review, like you have always seen life through your eyes, right? And in that review, it's like big picture, okay, four characters. Here you are, this is what you did to those three, for example, and vice versa. So that's very, it seems like, I don't know, a very idealistic thing. Okay, now that I see, I can see fully. I mean, that too takes time to be able to see.
हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल. Or at least I think to know that I'm not seeing fully is also a good place to be, you know, because
Yeah.
then one is always loose in one's perceptions, thoughts, you know, not taking anything too rigidly, always ready to improve, improvise, look further.
Yeah. At first, the whole thing seems to be the recurrent action of an automatic machinery, although the sum of that action mounts constantly into a creation, development, evolution. He was as if seized in this wheel, attached to it by the ego sense, whirled round and onward in the circling of the machinery. A complete mechanical determinism, or a stream of determinations of nature to which he lent the light of his consciousness, is the natural aspect of his mental, vital, and physical personality once it is regarded from this stable, detached standpoint, and no longer by a soul caught up in the movement and imagining itself to be part of the action. Before we begin this para, the last line of the last para, the continuity is a bit, I'm just stuck on that again. Force of continuity of movement, mentality. Movement seems like any movement, right? It could be mental, physical, how things are going on. Then mentality, my thoughts, my beliefs, life impulse. Life impulse would be habit. I don't know.
Life impulse will constitute feelings, emotions, desires, passions.
Okay. And we all have a certain character and a certain personality and a certain way we process those.
हाँ
An involuntary physical mechanism like the
हाँ
body.
हाँ. The
Okay.
body's mechanism where we
Okay.
like breathing is involuntary, although it has a voluntary aspect that I can stop it, है ना.
Yeah.
Heartbeat,
Yeah.
blood flow, involuntary, and it's just continuing by itself. I don't have to interfere.
Mm. Yeah. This first aspect, the creation, development, and evolution, that is also one of the problems, right? Because it seems like a lot is happening. It doesn't seem like, how mother says it's mostly you just putting a spoon in a cup of water instead of dating it because you see something, right? And it feels कि हाँ ये कर लिया वो कर लिया.
Yeah, but the thing is that I think यहाँ पे ये भी मुझे लगता है what it amounts to is that whatever action is done in from the knot of ego, it is adding on to more action. So it mounts constantly into creation. It is creating something, creating, whether done from ego consciousness wherever. डेवलपमेंट एंड एवोल्यूशन, तो एवोल्यूशन भी बाय इफेक्ट हो रहा है. ऐसा नहीं है कि दैट इफ यू आर स्टक इन द ईगो नॉट एंड एक्टिंग इन द वर्ल्ड लाइक योर व्यर्थ है ना. तो आई थिंक द डिजाइन इज सो ब्यूटिफुल कि चाहे उधर से कर रहे हो चाहे इधर से कर रहे हो, काम आगे बढ़े जा रहा है ना. वो स्लो प्रोसेस हो सकता है, जैसा भी हो सकता है, ज्यादा ब्लोज मिल सकते हैं, बट काम आगे बढ़ रहा है. तो एवोल्यूशन इज हैपनिंग.
The transcript that you had sent me for Dr. Anand Reddy on evolution, that is what it said, that just by being born, there is one more step added. Okay, matter has again been, kind of influenced by life, by energy. To do nothing by being born, you are aiding evolution. Not that he said not to do anything, but still.
काफी इंटरेस्टिंग पिक्चर क्रिएट कर रहा है ये वाला सेंटेंस. तो एक दो हो सकते हैं. एक तो लाइक एक खूंटे से है ना, you're being tied to a खूंटा and then round and round and round and just stuck to that point, है ना, which is attached to the ego sense. Or it could be in other way, be seen what Kabir says, चलती चाकी देख के, है ना, दिया कबीरा रे. So because my awareness is attached to the ego sense right now, not disentangled, so always stuck between duality, good, bad, running from pain, wanting pleasure, running towards delight. He was as if seized in this wheel, attached to it by the ego sense, whirled round and onward in the circling of the machinery.
This line we often hear, na, कि मैं क्या करता, मैं मजबूर था, like at a mental level. That also kind of sometimes we don't even know. Most of the time, I think we don't even know we have a choice, right? It's like, like it's a revelation that, oh, I can stand out. Like, say, in that book Illusions, right? That Masiha, like, he could leave. He realized he could leave, but the others didn't know he had a choice. So this also comes like a very big surprise that, oh, I can dash. Oh, that's my possibility. It's very interesting how he, like, the word seized, what we were even talking about before, right? A slave of circumstances, or it appears to be, and yet
आई थिंक वही है कि हम मतलब एक तरफ से ऐसा लगता है दैट वी कांट, वी आर नॉट पेशेंट, है ना. एट टाइम्स वी think about ourselves and we say no, no, I'm not tolerant enough and patient enough. On the other hand, we are actually too tolerant to a kind of a really sadness and sorrowful life that we keep on living patiently, tolerantly, thinking that no, this is what I have and this is it. So too self satisfied, one can say, or too easily satisfied कि ठीक ही तो है, तो ठीक ही तो है ना, सबका ही तो ऐसा है, all kind of excuses that we give. So a person like Bhagat Singh who says नहीं ठीक नहीं है मेरे को नहीं चलेगा ये, तुम सबको चल रहा है तो चले, बट मेरे लिए नहीं ठीक. And what Pradyuman ji was sharing, I was sharing with you the other day, that a Buddha or a yogi, true yogi, here is where the difference is, that they are so sensitive to any pain that even one bit of it, and they say that no, this is not done. I have to go to the root of it. And we become used to that pain. And that is why not questioning, just living with that sadness, limitation.
And what's surprising is that usually, not surprising, I think the cleverness of the society, because it has to be made to run in a certain way, or it appears, like say the Sati movement, right? It had so much sacredness attached to it that if you don't do it, then you are a bad person, right? Like then you don't belong to our society, you'll be an outcast. And for people to stand to those movements and say this is bullshit, when maybe a crowd of 25,000 people believe in it and you're one person. I mean, what courage, right? And for those movements to then stop, because it seems impossible, right? Like say even freedom from the British, it seemed impossible because so many of us were तो ओके कि ठीक है, तो चल रहा है, लॉ है, ऑर्डर है, सब कुछ है, काम है, और चाहिए क्या, है ना? मतलब एग्जैक्टली व्हाट यू वर सेइंग।
दूर से देखने में ऐसा लगता है, देखो करेज, देखो दूर से, है ना, दूर से क्या दिख रहा है मुझे, क्वांटिटी दिख रही है कि अरे इतने सारे लोग जो कुछ नहीं कर रहे, और यहाँ एक भगत सिंह है जो फांसी पे चढ़ने के लिए तैयार है, और द अदर सती मूवमेंट दैट यू वर शेयरिंग। बट मुझे लगता है फॉर दैट वन पर्सन ही हैज कम टू दैट स्टेज ऑफ एवोल्यूशन थ्रू आउट लाइफ टाइम्स, दैट नाउ दिस इज इट और नथिंग। तो वहां पे उसको करेज नहीं चाहिए एक्चुअली। आप देखो अपनी भी लाइफ में, आप देखोगे देयर आर मेनी पॉइंट्स वेयर यू जस्ट नो दैट नो, आई कांट स्टैंड, दिस कांट बी डन। तो उसमें आपको एक्चुअली उसके उसके स्टैंड होने के लिए आपको करेज नहीं चाहिए होती, दैट कम्स एक्चुअली एज अ नेचुरल, लाइक इंस्टिंक्ट कह सकते हैं, इंट्यूटिवली यू जस्ट नो दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव टू स्टैंड अप फॉर। अब उसमें दूर से देखने वाले को ऐसा लगता है, अब जैसे वन ऑफ माई फ्रेंड्स हु अंडरवेंट डिवोर्स, है ना, एंड स्टार्टेड लिविंग सेपरेटली, वॉट एवर, वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट वुमन, वो उसने मुझे ये शेयर किया कि लोगों को लगता है अरे बड़ी ब्रेव है, करेज है। देर ऑल्सो शी वॉज शेयरिंग, कहती करेज क्या, अब मैं स्टैंड ही नहीं कर सकती आज कोई दूसरा जीवन। और उस एक बंदे की वजह से, व्हाट यू वर शेयरिंग, बिकॉज ऑफ दैट कन्विक्शन फ्रॉम विच दैट पर्सन कम्स, other people also begin to wonder at least, कि अच्छा पॉसिबल है, मतलब कुछ नया पॉसिबल है, और laws begin to change, है ना, in history so many occasions when laws begin to change because of that। नहीं तो लॉज लगता है अरे नहीं लॉ है कैसे चेंज होगा, वो बंदा कह रहा है कि भाई लॉ होगा शॉ होगा मुझे नहीं पता, बट ये चेंज होना जरूरी है दिस कांट बी इट। तो मुझे लगता है शायद वो भी है कि शायद जब तक घर पे नहीं पड़ती, इन सम केसेस वी कैन से, कि जब मेरे घर पे कुछ नहीं होता है ना, तब तक मैं जगती नहीं हूँ। जब कुछ बाहर होता है तो वो छूता नहीं, वो उतना नहीं छूता जितना अपने घर पे कुछ होता है तो वो छूता है। तो एंड दैट इज व्हाई वी सी दैट मेनी मूवमेंट्स और petitions और वट एवर दे स्टार्ट व्हेन समथिंग हैपन्स एट विद यू एट होम, योर चाइल्ड, योर स्पाउस, वट एवर अबाउट, no way for pedestrians, nothing, and then you say no, this can't go on like this।
I think courage is there, but it's not an individual courage, है ना? It's like
वो that impersonality है ना, impersonal courage, yeah,
exactly,
yeah, you're right।
करेज तो है, मतलब दिखती है, बट हाँ उसके लिए वो चॉइसलेसनेस हो गई,
चॉइसलेसनेस लगती, हाँ।
बट या
बिल्कुल।
because a similar person or 50,000 similar people in that situation would feel कि नहीं ये ठीक नहीं है, but then they would feel अरे मैं तो इतना छोटा हूँ, मैं क्या करूँ, right? और या फिर what will people say, to be suffocate, right? Be
Yeah।
suppressed, but for one he cannot, she cannot, right? That is not an option. So to break that feeling or that, for your own self, it's choiceless, and yet it's a movement above the masses.
Yes. No, I understand what you are sharing. It connects you, that conviction connects you with that deeper strength, the inner strength, the impersonal strength, which is not my limited strength. Yes. And socho that if all of us, one by one, whatever, in relative degrees, whatever feeling or convictions that we get that are there, but we don't listen to them, the moment, and that's why we feel limited, because we are not listening to them. The moment I listen to those convictions, give them some weightage, actually it's like a portal which connects me to that vast impersonal strength. तो वो मतलब एक ही तीर से जैसे दो शिकार, क्यों मैं तो बेचारा अपनी सिचुएशन का मारा, लिमिटेड स्ट्रेंथ है ना भाई, मैं क्या कर लूंगा, और पता लगता है कि एवरीबडी हैज दैट पोटेंशियल, दैट इफ यू फील फॉर एनी लिटिल थिंग, है ना, एंड take a stand for that, you actually get connected to an impersonal vastness of strength, which is not your own. Yes, you're not you're limited one. Yeah. आई थिंक उसमें भी वही हो गया ना, जैसे मदर कहती हैं एमलेस लाइफ, मिजरेबल लाइफ, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द क्वालिटी ऑफ एम विल डिपेंड क्वालिटी। तो अगर कुछ ऐसा मुझे दिख गया जो मेरे से ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है, चाहे वो नेशनल पेट्रियोटिज्म हो गया, है ना, और कुछ भी हो गया, तो उसमें फिर मतलब दिस लिमिटेड पर्सन बिकम्स अ सेकेंडरी थिंग, है ना, रहे ना रहे, जिए मरे, बिकम्स अ सेकेंडरी थिंग। बट वही है कि हमारे लिए यूजुअली आई थिंक टाइम टू टाइम वुड मैटर, है ना, एवोल्यूशन के हिसाब से वुड मैटर, क्या फेज चल रहा है अभी, यूजुअली ऐसा लगता है कि नहीं, मैं अपने आप को क्यों जोखिम में डालूं इसके लिए। जबकि ये नहीं पता लगता कि अगर मैं जोखिम में डालूंगा किसी चीज के लिए जो सही लग रही है, दैट इज व्हेन आई इवन रिसीव माय ओन फुलफिलमेंट। डालते ही नहीं है जोखिम में, ऑलवेज सेफ, है ना, वांटिंग टू प्ले सेफ। अब यहाँ पे रीजन बार बन जाता है, वांटिंग टू प्ले सेफ। जिंदगी तो लंबी चल रही है, बट एक तरह से छोटी, वैसे बड़ी लंबी है, मे बी एज में काफ़ी लंबी हो गई, बट बड़ी जैसे नैरो, है ना, नैरो, वो उसमें सावित्री में है ना, नैरो लेन्स ऑफ ह्यूमन एग्जिस्टेंस, हाउ अशुपति लीव्स दैट नैरो लेन ऑफ ह्यूमन एग्जिस्टेंस, और वो भी बड़ा अच्छा है। हाँ,
लंबी but छोटी।
The other one I was reminded of was ये वाला, in distance sank the crowded tramp of life. You remember this one? We had read that. तो मैं यही सोचती थी, मैंने कहा ऐसा नहीं है कि वो कहीं डिसअपियर हो गया, वैनिश हो गया, ये भी तो कह सकते थे वैनिश द क्राउडेड ट्रैम्प ऑफ लाइफ, है ना, तो दैट इज स्टिल हेयर। तो जैसे मैं उस दिन बात कर रही थी विद वन ऑफ माई फ्रेंड्स की, वो सारी स्टोरीज आने लगती है, मैंने कहा वो तो कहीं नहीं जाने वाली, वो तो रहेंगी, है ना, हमने उनको छोड़ना है, उनको बगल में करना है। वेरी विजुअल इमेजरी ही क्रिएट्स ना, इन डिस्टेंस सैंक द क्राउडेड ट्रैम्प ऑफ लाइफ, कि अब तुम्हारे लिए कुछ और जरूरी हो गया, वो तो वहीं का वहीं है जो था, अभी वापस आना चाहो तो आ भी सकते हो उसके पास।
मतलब when it comes, it comes as if it never had left.
True, very true, very true. Real, solid, concrete,
Yeah.
wanting its
Like
attention.
I had told you about messaging a friend on the birthday, and
हाँ, हाँ,
like when the reply came, thought like how is she okay with this? Is this all she had to say? But 3, and I was like, "Okay, again?"
Yeah,
It's like, how many times
yeah,
will we ask the same question, wonder the same thing,
yeah.
and then you have to disconnect because
Disconnect, yes.
resolution is not possible and
नहीं
cannot
मिलेगा.
satisfy that reasoning.
बिल्कुल सही, बिल्कुल सही. Beautiful, yes, yes.
And small thing, almost a meaningless thing, and that too wants to come and sit on your head. Like it's like everything wants to come and sit on your head and say, हाँ देख ले, आगे मत देख,
हाँ,
इधर देख, उधर देख,
हाँ,
उधर देख, उधर देख, ये
yeah.
ठीक नहीं है, वो ठीक नहीं. मतलब like it's said, right? A machinery, as if my forward movement is not important. Those things. Yeah, it's very strange.
अब देखो यहाँ पे भी सेम चीज. The awareness is attached to the ego sense in that story that, for example, you shared, है ना. तो something is attached to that ego sense there, and that is why it calls you again and makes you a part of that field, unless you see it and decide to drop it. हाँ, yeah, बिल्कुल. लेकिन ऐसा चलता है कि ऐसा कांस्टेंट ये चाहिए, है ना, कांस्टेंट झाड़ झाड़ते रहो बार बार.
And it's good to see that maybe something happens. Earlier, you could be spending 2 weeks trying to get out of it, then 1 day, then 1 hour, then 5 minutes, then 1 minute. And
Yes,
yet that knock comes, "Okay, wait, see, that's not right."
yes,
And then
yes,
you're like, it's okay.
yes,
And
yes, yes,
so
absolutely.
it seems odd. Okay, why does it still needs to knock? And yet, those enemies slain revive again. They don't lose life.
Yeah, yeah. यही तो हो गया सुना, cherished guests. Cherished है ना. We have cherished them for a long time. So it seems like now also I'll be cherishing them. और वो जो नॉक की बात कर रही हूँ मैं, वही उस दिन मैं आपसे शेयर करी थी ना कि व्हाट इफ द नॉकिंग गोज ऑन बट देयर इज नो वन हियर टू रिस्पॉन्ड. खाली, घर खाली हो गया. Slowly, I mean, as it grows.
Yeah. Even if I'm spending say 5 minutes or 2 minutes on it, that means I'm still opening the door and
Opening the door.
saying,
हाँ,
"ये मुझे नहीं चाहिए," rather than
हाँ,
not opening only.
हाँ, हाँ, हाँ,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
A complete mechanical determinism or a stream of determinations of nature to which he lent the light of his consciousness. Yeah, I'll just read that. Yeah. हाँ, अब ये मैं सोच रही थी जैसे हाउ like for every thought, feeling, and storyline, I am aware of it because I can see the story, and that is why there is a story that is existing because of that seeing. So, as if I have lent that light of consciousness, completely forgotten myself, and lent my light fully there. So, a complete mechanical determinism or a stream of determinations or correct of nature to which he lent the light of his consciousness is the natural aspect of his mental, vital, and physical personality once it is regarded from this stable, detached standpoint and no longer by a soul caught up in the movement and imagining itself to be part of the action. So तब दिखना शुरू होता है कि अरे मेरी ही तो लाइट है. As if what we say, I was the one fueling my storylines and my opinions and everything. and how much it empowers actually. The moment you see that I have been running the show and I can stop it also. How much it empowers. Again, connection with that impersonal empowerment. जैसे होता है ना कि हम बोलते हैं किसी को कि कोई बंदा कोई परेशान हो रहा हो किसी चीज़ के बारे में ना, तो हम बोले कि अरे तो मत सोच। तो वो पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं लगती, मैं कैसे ना सोचूं, इतनी बड़ी चीज़ हो रही है कैसे ना सोचूं, है ना। तो टू हैव द पावर कि आपने जैसे ही सोचा मत सोच, ओके नहीं सोचना। और यही वहां पे भी वैलिड है जो व्हाट यू वर शेयरिंग ना, स्टोरी लाइन सडनली कम्स बैक एंड देन यू से नहीं सोचना, यू नो, एंड दैट्स इट, नहीं सोचना। और जब सोचना है देन यू कैन एंटर इनटू द मूवमेंट अगेन, यू नो, एंड connect the dots and whatever wherever it is necessary, and then you draw yourself back again, you know, so mastery ना, कि ये नहीं है कि एंटेंगल हो गए तो अब निकल ही नहीं पा रहे, और अगर पीछे रह गए तो अब जुड़ नहीं पा रहे। तो मास्टरी तो ये होगी कि वहां जाना है तो वहां भी जा सकते हैं और पीछे आना है तो पीछे भी। जैसे श्री अरबिंदो के सिगार की बात करते हैं, है ना? पीना है तो पी लेंगे, नहीं पीना तो ठीक है छोड़ देंगे।
When that knock comes,
हम्म
it has a lot of, I don't know, maybe self-respect or, that sense of importance to it. And yet, when one sees that I am a limited person right now, and this is the energy and the time I have. So for the next 5 minutes, for example, would I like to give it to that? Or there's something better, right? And there's always something better than those storylines. But takes a lot of, I don't know, grace to develop that intellectual ability and courage to choose. No, I don't want to, I don't want to, right? Like that muscle to develop. Is this the most important thing that I can do right now? And it never is. But it knocks as a very important thing. कि अरे यहाँ देखिए, यहाँ आपकी जरूर।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। आई थिंक along with this discernment there is also a sense of feeling what is right, what is not right, है ना। वो that constriction, you, the moment you're entering the storyline because of the slippery slope, maybe you don't want to, but as you said the knock seems very important, you know, at times it feels like something is uneasy, है ना, the constricting, no you are not okay there, है ना। ये वो जैसे मुझे याद है उसमें वो अर्धकुंवारी था ना, जहाँ पे अंदर से ऐसे पतली से रास्ते से जाते थे, so as if the being which you feel when you are relaxed, easy, vast, है ना, वो as if that has to become like this now going through this narrow lane, है ना, which from time to time appears। और फिर वही एज यू वर शेयरिंग वन हैज टू मे बी स्लोली लूज द टेस्ट कि अब तो बिल्कुल पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं, बट फर्स्ट वन हैज टू गेट द टेस्ट, है ना। वही हमारे एक्सपोजर्स कैसे हैं, सत्संगति या जो भी कह लो, दैट यू बिगिन टू बिकम अवेयर कि अच्छा ऐसे भी टेस्ट पॉसिबल हैं, एंड देन यू चेक विद द फीलिंग, अच्छा वेयर डू आई फील राइट, वेयर डू आई फील easy, expanded, you know?
And I think what you were sharing, in all those knocks, there's always some ego aspect identified, although it doesn't show its face, right? It shows as dukh. It shows as, oh my God, what is that person doing? Or why is she not listening? What can't she see? But उसमें बेचारा मैं
Exactly.
is the thing that always, always has the root.
या
It's
बिल्कुल।
good
आई
to
थिंक ये वो
see.
मैं ही हो गया ना कि वो कमरे से अब गायब, मैं,
हाँ,
देर इज नो बेचारा मैं।
yeah,
तो तुम करते रहो नॉक बैठ के, है ना, कोई खोल नहीं
yeah,
रहा।
good title of the next room. Next room, nobody is in the
यहाँ
room.
कोई नहीं है, हिंदी में भी करेंगे
Yeah,
सर, गुजराती, मराठी, पंजाबी, बंगाली, फ्रेंच फ्रेंच। ठीक है, यहाँ पे हम रुक भी सकते हैं बिकॉज यू वांटेड टू, है ना, पता नहीं कब तक है ये, नेक्स्ट टाइम
I
ले लें,
think, yeah, I
बड़ा
think.
है। ठीक है, सो पेज नंबर 636, सेकेंड पैरा से शुरू करेंगे। 636 सेकेंड पैरा।